It sound like you need something natural. Go and get you this Haitian hair growth oil to turn alopecia backwards. You got erectile dysfunction? It sound like you need something natural. Go and get them S-for capsules, so when you get in the bed you can handle. Also you got acne, huh? It sound like you need something natural. Go get that face glow cream shit from Haiti. Your skin fucked up, it's time to go tackle. If you need anything natural to help you with anything, you know that Royal Lux got it. All of them chemicals, you need to stop it. If it's not from nature, then you need to drop it. Got a small meat? Get you some grass cacao. It's finna make you grow larger, pause. But it's gonna make it bigger. Your girl gonna feel it next time that you hit her. RoyalLux.com, go tap in. They got everything you need, and they do wholesale. Get what you want. Start you a business and get rich this month.
These religions themselves, Mosesism, which is Judaism, Christism, which is Christianity, Muhammadism, which is Islam, are spells. How? Religion is a spell because it keeps you thinking that someone or something is going to save you, when the helping hand that you're looking for is at the end of your own arm. Religion is a spell because it has you believing that you can't have anything of worth until after you die and go up somewhere in a heaven or garden, when all you have to do is work for it. Refer to What Is God Doing For You, scroll 54. They don't describe anything in heaven you or a millionaire can't get right here on earth. Religion is a spell because it condones people turning into bums, dropouts, and failures of society, when a steady income could solve most of your problems. Religion is a spell because it has you believing in spooks and ghosts. However, those whom you were made in the image and likeness of were physical beings of Tamaray, Egypt. Your Neturu, Nitirat, supreme beings called God, were and are real. Nitir, supreme being. The father, Asaru, Osiris. Nitir, supreme being. The son, Haru or Horus. And the mother, the Nitert, supreme being, Aset or Isis, are real people. In fact, they are making themselves known. The tomb of Asaru, Osiris, and Aset, Isis, have recently been unearthed, so they are no longer a myth. The spell of Amam, Leviathan, is also enforced through Tamahu, man, or ghost man's media, by establishing how you as blacks should look, what you should wear, how you should feel, where you should go, where you should look, where you should work, how you should spend your money, and what you should eat. The Tamahu, man, tries to control your mind and all your feelings to make you work against yourself and kind.
And I asked him, what secret is he talking about? He said, yes, America is Egypt. He was like, that's what the Seminole War was about, the Louisiana Purchase was about. And he was like, look up this map. It's called Tamari. And he said, y'all, it's Tamarikans. So I went to look up at the map, right? And I was amazed he was right. He was like, that's y'all true nationality. And he was like, when the Seminole War broke out, that's when they won and they took over America and started calling them Americans, and they spelt it different. And the Bible is based upon y'all. All pastors know this, Freemasonry know this, everybody know this.
Pyramid on the Nile in Northeast Africa doesn't have stair steps going up it. It doesn't have temples on top of its summits. They could not go and break through the boat on the temples atop those great pyramids. There are none there. And that was the clue that Egypt was writing about the Americans. And the deeper I got into the records, the clearer it got. They started actually saying, and because Amun loved that land so much, He said it's his beloved land, and that word was Mary, the beloved. Mary, M-E-R-I, Mary. And the land, of course, as before, is Ta, the beloved land.
In other news, the Tomb of Drake is set to be completed in downtown Toronto in late 2024.
The underground portion of the tomb is complete, and it's got everything Drake requested for the afterlife. So there's rooms filled with Patron, there's a room for 21 Savage, and there's also a fully functioning OVO store. To prevent grave robbers, we have had an old lady curse all the items. So if someone does steal something for the rest of their life, they will be followed home by the Owl Man. Besides that, the only sealed item in Drake's sarcophagus is a pirated copy of Stranger Things on DVD.
This is the proof right here.
Sunday as the first day, March as the first month? That's not what any calendar I've ever hung on my wall has shown. Why did everything change? Who decided to flip the script and shift the months around?
In fact, it was the Rockefeller Foundation in 1939 that instituted the world's standard tuning. The Western world tunes to a 440 hertz frequency. That when you tune your instrument to that, the F sharp note is 741. Precisely. Not 7.41.1 or 0.2, it's 741. Which meant that there was a clear, scientifically researched intent, and indeed that's exactly what happened. The 741 A440 link came out of military research in the 1930s to induce psychosocial stress and dis-ease to the max. It was selected that A440 would be the standard tuning for the Western world. In fact, quote, mass hysteria, end quote, could be induced by instituting that frequency. And now you begin to explain why you went from the era of Frank Sinatra, where women would mostly swoon over Frank. Suddenly, Elvis Presley, rioting began.
Look, understand this. In the ancient world, physics, geometry, astronomy, energy, heat, light, air, water, all your chemistry that comes from the word alchemy was encoded into mythology. Now this is the key to get you off the spook. When you see stuff that looks like this that you are scared of, I'm going to tell you there's only energy, and you are energy, just like the cosmos is energy. This is the key. White man learned this a long time ago, and he been ruling the world and all, and got y'all messed up. Y'all pray every day in a damn church and all, and you worst people on earth as far as your conditions. Can't get out of nothing. Don't see, the problem is you've been taking these Sunday school stories that you never graduated out of Sunday school literally. You understand? Anytime you see hieroglyphic icons and symbols in the ancient world, it's explaining energy. When you see energy like this that looks the most hideous, it's explaining the most powerful energy. You understand? You see how you get some more powerful energy? They put a damn skull and crossbones on the bottle. You understand that? You see? It didn't mean that the skull and the crossbones was in the bottle. It was explaining the degree of energy. You understand this? You got to get this, because see, everybody's spooked out about some damn devil that don't exist. When you see this robotic goat, this is energy. They took a hieroglyph or an icon to explain the most powerful energy on the planet. You understand? You see the third eye. That's the third eye in you. See what I'm saying? That's called the third eye of Lucifer, which means light bringer. It's a story that's going on in a school of the souls, and ain't got nothing to do with no damn devil up under no ground and you going to hell. You understand what I'm saying? You are mixing in religious fundamentalism into esoteric teachings.
All white people are rotten, and black people are just like them. The Because you've made them just exactly like you. They walk like you, they talk like you, everything they do is like you. They want to be you so much. They love your woman more than you do. They know your mind better than you. They wear your clothes. They've even learned to wear your shoes. You take them out of the jungle and you want to make them into a man. Why couldn't they be left to be God? Why you want to make them to a man? In the jungle they were God. See, over here everybody thinks them old black people are just dumb old colored folks. But they're not dumb old colored folks. They're very smart. They're very aware. And their capacity for fear is 3 times what yours is.
In the past, you know, we have paid high prices for Apple, Samsung, all of this stuff. We pay not to see this history of exploitation, right? And it's a long history of exploitation. I mean, it's, you know, people want to talk about technology, but it's not technology. I mean, how many of us are it's not just technology. I mean, how many of us, you know, are so clear on stuff like, oh, I can't start my day without coffee. And it's like, do you want to talk about where the coffee comes from? Do you want to talk about where the sugar you put in the coffee comes from? You're talking about oil in the car, but do you want to talk about the rubber for those tires? Because then we can talk about another genocide that happened in the Congo that, you know, that's never been really spoken about. Do you want to talk about the chocolate that, you know, you're a chocoholic. Where does the chocolate come from? When the US bombed Nagasaki and Hiroshima, 85% of the uranium in those bombs came from Nigeria. So we've been exploiting the continent of Africa. We've been exploiting black and brown people for not just the entirety of our lives, but for the entirety of practically Western civilization as we know it. There's a documentary called Tantura. Many of the people who participated in the massacre at Deir Yassin and what have you are still alive, and they're interviewed in this documentary. And these stories of the Nakba and what happened in Palestine in 1948 are obscene, are violent. And there was enacted in what's taught in schools in Israel and what have you. It's, you know, it's also something, it's not a paying not to see, but it's a selective memory of choosing not to tell the truth. You know, so there's a connection between choosing not to tell the truth, that selective memory, and then paying not to see. You know, the minerals and the stories behind the minerals in our technology.
Trying to put me in the back of the bus. Pull up my history, know that I eat. Had them red nicks on my neck trying to kill me. KKK trying to grill me. Had to depart Detroit, had to start a new start. Rosa Parks got over the baddest. But I'm sorry, little baby, I come up the book. These politicians is the maddest. Chris Shelley Chisholm is the blackest. Let's get it. How we move. The year was 1972. Had to show them something new. Then I ran for presidency too. I do it. I'm popping mouses, I ain't stopping niggas. If you in my way with it, I'm dropping niggas. Keep a blicky on me in my pocket, nigga. And if you change your mind, then I'ma pop pits. Big tummy freak 300 slaves. Popping in mouses and put them in graves. Knocking kids out with the mids that I made. Giving out fades and slicing with blades. Kid sick, so you need you a healer. Well, I'm sorry, little baby, I was born in Maryland. Stumbled up on a killer. I'm the Freddy Cougar slave dealer.
Hold on to this shit, oh, you want hell. They already told you that the spell is over. When Lizzie over there died and they snapped the wand and put it right on her casket for the whole world to see. Most of y'all missed that, went right over your head. Now what queen you know? All the queens I know carry scepters or staffs. This one had a wand. Only people I know that carry wands was witches and warlocks. See, they putting everything right in front of your face because it's revelation. You thinking it's a great war of Armageddon, but it means to reveal, to awaken. Your pole shifts is that spinal cord that go up, have all the nerves connected to it that go up to your brain, that's sparking a whole new form of consciousness in you. That's your great awakening. There's a reckoning coming. And some of it is coming from people that just look like me too. And some people who won't be the one to help you may not look like you. See, y'all all thinking it's about bloodlines, your 12 tribes. But no, sometimes it could be about them blood types. I dropped a lot of breadcrumbs in this video, baby. Y'all sit back and y'all ponder on all the things I'm talking about. Cause time's just about up.
Did y'all hear about why they started saying the oppressors, the slave masters, the slave abusers, the slave leaders, why they started saying good morning? It is to my understanding they started saying good morning because when black folks got their children kidnapped, killed, or husband killed, or wife killed, they cried all night. Men and women just cried all night. And when they would wake up, the slave master asked them, did they have a good morning? Insulted them and said, have enough mourning for the loss. So again, this is why we try to change and shift the stuff that they have given us, because everything has been a spit, a mockery. You understand? To disconnect us from Christ and love.
Who saw the movie The Matrix? Okay. Good. Then we can start from a point of reference. Matrix was a banging movie to me, and the reason why I appreciated it so much was because you remember at the end when Neo realized his potential, he started to see the binary code. You remember that, the whole world? Well, that's where I'm trying to be spiritually. I'm trying to see the word of God in the whole world. So every time that agent throws a punch, I'm like, I see you. Oh, okay. I'm just catching his punches. So I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid because I'm starting to see that. Things are just, situations materialize themselves, and oh, he's an agent. But here's the trick. Here's the trick. Here's the trick is that you have to remember that sometimes you can be an agent. You can be an agent to yourself. You can be an agent against someone else and not even realize that you're being used. That's the Matrix.
Man, you ain't gonna believe this. Do you remember when Jay-Z said this?
Because it's a project, an experiment, wearing it, only as objects, an object for us to explore our prospects, sidestep cops on the way to the top, yes.
Now follow me now, because this is gonna be a good one. This ain't about they clone Tyrone, but it's very, very close. Now watch this right here. Most of us work a 9 to 5, and they call that the rat race, either corporate America or blue collar work. It's the rat race. But did you know that the rat race actually means a group of laboratory rats racing through a maze in order to be the first one to obtain a goal? That's interesting. They also made it a movie back in 1960. But what does this have to do with they clone Tyrone or Jay-Z? I'm glad you asked. Our story first starts with this guy right here. His name is Robert Tryon. Robert Tryon, kind of like Tyrone. Check this out. He was an American behavior psychologist who pioneered the study of hereditary trait inheritance and learning in animals. His series of experiments with laboratory rats showed that animals can be selectively bred for greater aptitude at certain intelligence tests. Now watch this. This is the crazy part right here. Tune in real quick. Hold on to your horses and your seats, because it's about to go down. So Robert Tryon, he conducted a test with 100 rats, right? And he put them in certain environments, one with a clean environment and one with a dirty environment. Now watch what my guy say. Watch this.
Environment where it had clean water, they put it in an environment where it had the right amount of space where the rats can, get, basically if they wanted to be by themselves, they could. They made sure that it was good food in there that didn't have any type of poisons put inside the foods. They even gave them space to breathe, to go upstairs, downstairs. They just gave them this abundant environment, right? They put these rats in there. Mind you, these are the same rats with the same genetical molecular structure, with nothing different. They both came from the same mama, the same daddy, the same family tree, right? So they took these rats, they put one in a good environment, then they put the other 100 rats in a bad environment where they didn't get water. If they did get water, the water actually had acids in it. They made sure they didn't give them the regular food. I think they gave them like cat food or something like that with a bunch of pellets that was inside of them, right? They stuck them on top of each other, and they made sure that the space was very, very small. They never cleaned any poop out of the maze. They pissed out of the maze, and they left them in there. They left them in there for 4 months, and they watched how their behavior changed. They went back and they got the actual rats that came from the good environment and they put them in the maze. They ended up going through the maze very, very fast. Then they ended up going to get the rats that they put in a bad environment and put them in the maze, and they didn't know how to even make it through the first section of the maze. So he like, maybe this is a coincidence. So he did it. So what he did was he switched the rats. He took the rats that was smart, that made it through the maze, that was in the good environment, and he put them in a bad environment. Then he took the rats that was in a bad environment, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze at all, and he put them in a good environment. He waited 4 months, then he took them back out. The same rats that was good and smart, that was in a good environment, that he put in a bad environment, now they couldn't make it through the maze. The same rats that was in a bad environment, that was dummies that couldn't make it through the maze, he put them in a good environment, now they making it through the maze and making it through life just fine. So he said, damn, it ain't the genetics. It ain't who these people is as individuals. It's the community. It's the environment that you put these biological entities in that changes the way they interact with the environment and with themselves. Did you know he did another 6-month experiment on the same rats that he left in the bad environment? Guess what they started doing? Killing each other. Some of the male rats started humping other male rats. Homosexuality. Look, the other rats that was at the bottom that didn't have the food, these niggas went upstairs to the other rats and started robbing them for food and water. I said, damn, this sound like your typical project. Don't this sound like the PJs? This is a real rat experiment. So it made me start questioning. I had to sit back and really rub my shit. They turned into robbing rats? They turned into robbing, homosexual. What else are you gonna do? It's a survival mechanism at this point. Now check this out though, guys. It was a selective group of female rats, and I really want y'all to look this up when y'all get home today. Watch this. It will fuck your mind up. The female rats, they started pampering themselves. They used to let their children just do what the fuck ever. They started pampering themselves. All they was worried about hood rats. Which one of these? See, these was the hood rats. Okay. The hood rats, right? Exactly. So the hood rats. I'm just gonna quote that. The hood rats. All they did was pamper themselves. The only thing that they worried about was their fur. They worried about their weight. They didn't worry about their children anymore. They weren't worried about the mama papa rat. The only thing that they focused on was their actual cells. And then the father rat started going to other different parts of the actual rat experiment cage and started like bullying on the younger children. It was crazy, man. Look, it gets so deep when you really start watching it. It even rapists started happening. Rape with the older male rats in the community started raping the younger males and the younger female rats. Okay. Same thing that happens in the ghetto where a young girl will get touched on by their uncle, or a young male will get touched on by their uncle or their auntie. This happens. So it's like, damn, is this rat experiment that's going on in Tyrone, rat maze experiments, the same shit that's going on with us?
That experiment that you just heard Yaki Awakening talk about, it happened in 1940s. With understanding that, this gives a new and profound identity and definition of the term hood rat, projects, and rat race. So when you think about they cloned Tyrone, it's not necessarily that they cloned people, but they actually cloned the idea and the mental capacity and the structure on how these people behave, being that they're in a controlled environment. I don't know. What do you think about it? Peace. If you're in a bad environment, something that's not really good for your health, your mental health, or anything like that, you might want to get out of that environment, because we know that it's not our genetics that has us acting all crazy and out of control, but it's our environment. The environment might be a little bit toxic. So I suggest you find somewhere else to go. Dang, I guess the homie Jay was right. That's crazy. Hey, follow and like this video. Also, share it to somebody that you know that's toxic. Let them know that it's not them. It may just be their environment is a little bit unstable. You know what I'm talking about?
The truth about St. Valentine's Day. And it might make you a little... yeah. So St. Valentine's, a 26 billion with a B industry that exists around a day of love. But why do we celebrate St. Valentine's Day? Especially when we find out Valentine's Day originally commemorated a Christian martyr losing his head in the 3rd century. Who is Valentine? We don't exactly know who or which Valentinus was the actual Saint Valentine, and there's some options, which is one reason so many dang churches in Europe from Rome to Ireland profess to have pieces of his skull or his whole skull in their reliquaries, which makes one ask who in the heck do all of these skulls belong to. But the chronography of 354, the earliest list of Roman Christian martyrs, doesn't mention Saint Valentine, although that list was compiled by a Christian named Valentinus, a popular name at the time. But later lists compiled between 460 and 544 do include this St. Valentine, who in some versions of the tale was a 3rd century priest or bishop who ministered to persecuted Christians of the Roman Empire and was unalived for his efforts. Other legends say that he was a martyr in Africa, but the most popular stories by far have him located square in Rome. Regardless, the Feast of St. Valentine was established by Pope Gelasius on February 14, 496 AD, and by the 8th century, the occasion evolved to St. Valentine's Day. So there was a dude somewhere, we just don't know exactly which one it was, and a whole load of legends developed over later centuries about the guy and his exploits. And the story became really popular in the Middle Ages. Some stories say Valentinus used to illegally marry soldiers and their wives when Emperor Claudius supposedly forbade marriages of Roman soldiers in the mid-3rd century, as Claudius believed unmarried soldiers fought better. And it was after being caught doing these marriages, Valentine was clubbed, stoned, and chopped. This supposedly is where we get the idea of parchment hearts being given to one another, as Valentine supposedly did this for soldiers to carry with them to war, to remind these men of their vows to their wives and of God's love. And later versions of the story said he gave it to persecuted Christians who he would pray for. But verifiable history is a bit hazy on the subject. Another popular medieval legend of St. Valentine comes from the Acta, where a Roman priest named Valentinus was taken into custody by a magistrate named Asterius during the reign of Emperor Claudius II. And while talking about Jesus, Asterius promised to convert if Valentinus could cure his foster daughter of blindness. And Valentinus said, "Lord Jesus Christ, enlighten your handmaid, because you are God, the true light." And boom, girl could see. Convinced, Asterius and his family were baptized. Unlucky for them, they were all later unalived by Emperor Claudius for not acknowledging that the emperor was a god, with Valentinus being with his body buried at the site of his unalivement on the Via Flaminia, where a chapel was later built. It's a great story, but again, there are very few actual verifiable facts about it. Similar legends sprouted up in the Middle Ages that Valentine was the Bishop of Terni during the 3rd century and was under house arrest for evangelizing, or in some versions, offering marriages to soldiers. Like other versions of the tale, while under house arrest, he was discussing the truth of Jesus with the judge, and to test him, the judge brought in his blind adopted daughter. Valentine prayed, and the girl was healed. So the judge was like, "Dang, bro, okay, what do I need to do?" So Valentine said he should break all his pagan idols, fast for 3 days, and then be baptized. So the judge and his 44-member household did as Valentine asked, and the judge additionally freed all the Christian inmates in his province. But in this version, Valentine was later arrested for evangelizing and was brought before Emperor Claudius. And Claudius really liked Valentine, until Valentine tried to convince Claudius about Jesus being God and refusing to worship the emperor. In Rome, it was believed that the emperor was a god, but Valentine said he couldn't worship him, so Valentine was unalived under the capital charge of atheism. And the day before he was appointed to lose his head, Valentine sent a letter to the daughter of the judge, whose blindness he had healed, and in some versions of the legend had fallen in love with. And he signed the letter, "From your Valentine." And it's this version of the story that became popular with some big-time writers of the past. Chaucer, Shakespeare, guys like that. And those guys are linked to really pushing the romantic narrative of the tales of St. Valentine, helping turn it into the holiday we know today with our elements of Eros and Cupid and stuff like that. Now, I have to put this in here because if I don't, someone's going to pop off in the comments with the whole, "Well, Valentine's Day is really a pagan celebration of Lupercalia." But very few scholars hold fast to that idea nowadays. And Lupercalia was a rural fertility celebration held on what's now February 15th, honoring the Roman god Lupercus. It originally involved sacrificing goats and dogs, but evolved into this crazy celebration in cities where during festivities, horned up half-naked fellas wearing animal skins would look for women to hit with their goat whips, as it was supposed to promote fertility. And if women were already pregnant, it was thought being struck by these whips would make their babies healthy. Man, Romans. In 496 AD, however, Pope Gelasius supposedly denounced the rowdy festival and outlawed it. But he was the guy who established the first feast of St. Valentine to be celebrated on the day of Valentine's execution, February 14th. Still, there's no direct evidence that the Pope purposefully replaced Lupercalia with the more chilled-out holy day of the martyred St. Valentine. But as I always say, no religion exists in a vacuum, so who knows? I'm sure it had something a little to do with it. But it's important to remember the original feasts of St. Valentine were not about romanticized Eros and Cupid-style love, but the miraculous, sacrificial, faith-driven love of Christian brotherhood. It would be the later medieval poets who really brought the romantic portion to the forefront, literally romanticizing what would become a day for romantics, which is kind of neat. So, is Valentine's history verifiable? Not really. But the story that reaches us today is filled with the power of sacrificial love, and even 1,500 years later.
In ancient Greece, as an event that we document in history called Lupercalia. Lupercalia was a giant pedophile sacrifice event. That's just what it was, cut and dry. Every February 14th, they would sacrifice children to, their demonic deities that they believed in. And it's also associated with pedophilia. As I stated before, eros is the etymological root of the word erotic or eroticism, which is sexual love. Eros is also a little boy deity in ancient Greece who was considered, the national symbol of sexual attraction because they was like the little boys. Eros' alleged mother is Aphrodite, who's a man, a transgender. And what y'all need to know is that only difference between Greece and Rome is some of the names of the deities, but they share the exact same mythology. So Eros in Greece would be called Cupid in Rome. Aphrodite in Greece would be called Venus in Rome. But y'all gotta remember, these are the same people. So now that you know that, Eros and Aphrodite actually comes from the Babylonian story of Ishtar and Tammuz. Now Tammuz is Nimrod and Ishtar is Esther, aka Semiramis. And so the story of Nimrod and Esther or Semiramis goes that Nimrod was a mighty hunter who used his bow and arrow on his own mother to make her fall in love with him. And he had sex with his own mother. He got her pregnant, and that was the first origins of the Immaculate Conception, because he didn't want to tell his army that he was having sex with his mother. And so Nimrod and Esther, aka Easter, you celebrate Easter, became Eros and Aphrodite. Eros and Aphrodite became Cupid and Venus, and Cupid and Venus became Virgin Mary and baby Jesus. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is because Valentine's Day is a hybrid holiday combined of symbolic to Lupercalia, as well as the celebration of Cupid and Venus, aka Nimrod and Semiramis, aka Esther. And so this is why Cupid has the bow and arrow to symbolize Nimrod, who was a mighty hunter who used the bow and arrow on his own mother. And then what they don't tell you about Cupid is Cupid had two arrows. He had the golden tipped arrows, which was to make you fall in love, and then the blunt tipped arrows, which was to make you fall out of love. And if you read the story of Cupid, he was basically like a mischievous demon. He was actually considered a demon because Nimrod is considered the king of demons. And what Cupid would do was, for his own diabolical satisfaction, he would ruin people's relationships. So he might see you in a 10-year marriage or a 10-year relationship and come make you fall in love with your brother. And now you in incest. You know what I'm saying? Or this, that, and third. And if you look at the paintings of Cupid, whenever he's finna use the blunt tip arrow, he has the blindfolds on. And so Cupid, in ancient Greece and Rome, was used as an excuse for sexual deviancy. So a man might marry his cousin or marry his sister, and they say love is blind. And this is where that saying comes from, love is blind, because Cupid got the blindfolds on. So you might, fall in love with your mama and get your mama pregnant, and people say love is blind. You love who you love. You know what I'm saying? And you hear people saying that today. You can't control who you love. You can fall in love with another man, love is love. Now, love ain't blind. Love can see. Why animals don't just fall in love blindly. And so Cupid is a emotionally chaotic demonic entity that we celebrate. And as far as the Valentine's letters, those come from Saint Valentine, who was persecuted by the Roman government, I believe during the 5th century, because what happened was the emperor at the time, he didn't allow men to marry women because he believed that if men were in love and they were a part of the military, that they would fight harder since their lovers was on the battlefield. And so what Valentine was doing was secretly allowing men to be with women. And the Roman government found out, and they sentenced him to death. And before he died, he wrote a love letter to the woman that he loved, and he started that letter off as, "Your dear Valentine." So when you in school and you got the kids writing Valentine letters, you actually writing death notes. When you're celebrating Cupid, you're celebrating sexual deviancy, immorality, and pedophilia, because Cupid is a pedophile deity as well as an emotional deviant deity. The hearts are symbolic to I don't know if I'm saying it right, Baal or Baal, but y'all know I'm talking about Baal. Baal, aka Moloch, is another rendition of Lucifer, aka Satan. And when you look up the ancient Chaldean or Babylonian definition of Baal or Baal, it means sacred heart. And you always see Jesus posing with that heart. And so this is supposed to be like the heart of Lucifer. And you also see certain pictures of Satan with that heart. And so the Valentine's Day heart is symbolic to Baal by definition, who's another form of Satan. And so you running around with the hearts on Valentine's Day representing Satan. And then a heart also looks like a butt, an anus. And so Valentine's Day is a very demonic holiday. It's a very pedophilic holiday. It's a very satanic holiday. It's a very sexually deviant holiday. And it also, the roses for Valentine's Day are symbolic to death, because when somebody dies, you give them roses. And so they remix it to make it seem like it's for love, but it's really for death. So you write a Valentine's Day card, aka a death letter, and then you give somebody roses, symbolizing that you just spiritually died. And so all of these holidays are rituals. I don't break them down because I'm bitter and I don't want people to be happy during the holiday season. I want people to know that if we want something to celebrate, we can celebrate. We can make something up. They made something up. We can make something up. So even if you don't want to celebrate in the correct honor of our ancestors, if we want to start fresh, we can do that too. But we need to know that what we are doing now, that's not it. And you are being spiritually hypocritical because you are partaking every day and every month in these different holiday celebrations and traditions that were not only made by people that slaughtered your ancestors, but are representative to the exact spiritual deities that you claim not to subscribe to, Lucifer being one of them.
Zodiac signs. Zodiac signs is actually a demon. A demon rules over each zodiac sign. So how they did it was that in the time of Babylonia, they carried on what these Nephilim taught the humans. So they took the sky and divided up into 12 areas. With each area, they assigned a demon. So they gave it a name. And in Hebrew thought, name speaks of character and function. For instance, if you are a Capricorn, that's your demon that you are assigned to. His character, his function is actually your horoscope. That's pretty much the function, that's the character of that demon, and that's the seal. So zodiac sign is a sign, it's a seal. So you are marking yourself with this demon. You are giving legal access, you are giving legal rights for Satan and his demonic hood rats to come into your life.
Let me draw some uncomfortable dots and ruin your night. Before we start, this is all speculation. This guy right here is Epic Paranormal. He was at a Lana Del Rey concert, and he said that his phone was glitching, and every picture it would take would make the people look like a straight up demon, right? Well, I'm going to show you that first, but when I saw that, it reminded me of something very, very, very particular.
Camera kept glitching.
Your camera was not glitching, my friend. Those are real life demons. Whether they are possessed or just straight up a demon, that's exactly what we're looking like. You remember the movie They Live? My man had some dissonant glasses. If y'all have not seen this, you need to go see it. He puts the glasses on, he sees things how they really are, takes them off, and they go back to normal. It's called They Live. Literally showing us the exact same thing we're seeing at that concert. And we're about to get into some speculation right here in 1 second. They're among us. They live. Get it? It appears our cameras have the same exact problem filming Congress. The creator is the top left. It's odd. And this is all alleged, by the way, but it would not surprise me one bit if all these people were demons, or at least demonically oppressed, or possessed, would it not? He's recording it right off the TV screen.
Trump was they butt.
The Crown is not the British royal family. The real Crown is the private corporate city of London, and it has 12 council members who serve as representatives for the 13 of the world's wealthiest banking families. The families include the Rothschild family, the Warburg family, the Oppenheimer family, and the Schiff family. The British Parliament and the British Prime Minister serve as a public front to these 13 ruling families. The city-state of London is the wealthiest square mile on the face of the earth. It houses the Bank of England, the London Stock Exchange, all British banks, branch offices of 385 foreign banks, and 70 US banks. It has its own courts, its own laws, its own flag, its own police force, and pays no taxes.
Like the man said on American Satan, the best place to keep a secret is right in front of someone. So we have the 1994 Faust cover with the guy covering one eye, and the story is about selling your soul. Let's listen to some words straight from the celebrities themselves.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Lisa came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
It's like the boy in the bubble who never could adapt. I'm trapped. If I could go back, I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back.
I sold my soul to the devil, and the price was cheap. And yo, it's cold on this level, cause it's twice as deep.
Picture a nigga on the verge of living insane. I sold my soul for a chance to kick it and bang.
Dear God, I wonder, can you save me?
Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body.
Dear God, I wonder, can you save me?
Secret society, trying to keep the eye.
You know, I am misunderstood a lot at times. My music, my image, people have their whole thing about me, whether it be me being a devil worshiper or whatever. Besides them reading into my hand over my eye on my album cover.
Why is your hand over your eye?
Because I'm a devil worshiper. What are you talking about?
I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. You know, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my hand.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in a world we can't see.
I mean, I can try, but then it just doesn't happen. I can sing notes and sing strong and do all these things that when I'm just by myself, I can't do. And I remember right before I performed, I raised my hands up, and it was kind of the first time I felt something else come into me.
If your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil.
Yeah, and it like really upset me, so I like summoned Satan, and I write about how I made it.
Where do you summon Satan?
It's in the chapter called Eat, Pray, Love, Conjure Satan. And when I was 12 years old, I signed a deal with Satan in my room, and I was to...
CBS doesn't condone this.
Wait a minute. Because I wanted to get famous no matter...
Can you explain this thing here on the
Now, I'm not here trying to tell you that these people were face to face with the devil, shaking his hand or something like that, but this all really is satanic. It's all about materialism, wealth, and living a life full of earthly pleasures while neglecting spiritual wealth and well-being. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Satan is the god of this material world, and we are always under attack, being deceived, misled, manipulated, and tempted. This is why people celebrate Christmas, and we exchange material on Christmas, and spend money. It's all about the one eye. This is why people that sold their soul for fame and fortune cover one eye. And this is why we have an all-seeing eye on the back of the most circulated currency in the world with the phrase, "In God we trust." It's not the God you were thinking of growing up. But like I was saying, forget about a red devil with horns, as that is only a symbol of the darkness that tries to influence people from a different plane of existence. Let's listen to some of the words from an interview with rapper DMX.
And then I remember one day coming from the studio at 6 o'clock in the morning and pulling over on the highway. We like 4 cars, you know, just to watch the sunrise. And it was at that point that I fell in love with Arizona. I said, you know what, this has to be God's country. You know, because I'd never seen anything as beautiful as that sunrise. Then I met the devil in God's country. You know, and it's not so much who, it's what, you know, what happens and the things that the devil does. It's not so much a person, even though he acts through people. You know, you can't call one person the devil.
Joe Arpaio?
You know, you can't call any one person the devil. You can't do that because no one person has enough power to be the devil.
So you see, that gives us a little bit of insight right there, you know? The people you deal with, they're all influenced. It's all influence. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Rock music and rap music is doing it now too.
Pussy ass nigga stop hating. The tone chick got that fire, and these hoes love me like Satan.
I'm gonna tell you guys a true story on how me and David Spade met. I was at my weekly Illuminati meeting. I was sitting next to Beyonce and Jay-Z, and all of a sudden my boy Spade walked in right after Drake walked in. I was like, yo Drake, move your little bitch ass somewhere else. I gotta talk to Spade real quick. And then we burned 2 truckloads of money and did some devil prayers. I sacrificed 4 goats, 3 chickens, and 1 sheep. And then we just chopped it up, whatever. We was like, hey, be in this video, bitch. And then we went to catch, had some lobsters with chicken blood. I still have the t-shirt with the chicken blood on it. I think it's a Drake t-shirt.
And then I would do the same. Now Jesus said, take this cup. This is my blood of the new covenant. Now we've mixed our blood. That's right. Which is his and which is mine. Now our blood symbolically has been mixed here. Now at the communion table. Yes, sir. He said, this is my blood of the new covenant. All of you drink all of it. Judas had to drink that. Yes, sir. So, now, and I want you to be this way every time you take communion, and you ought to take it a lot. A lot. Yes, sir. Now his blood is in my body. Yes, sir. It's in there. His blood is mixed with my blood. Can you see it?
Sammy told me he worshiped the devil. We were in Dan Tana's on that restaurant with all the pictures up. Sammy was like, you know, Satan is as powerful as God. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? He says, why do you think there's so much anger in the world and killing and murder? And Satan, and he saw my reaction to it, then he kind of lightened up on it. And he was like, in Dan Tanner, it's dark, and it's the candles on the table, and Sammy's face over the candle. You know, Satan is as powerful as God.
So, why don't they fill these up? It's silly. It's annoying.
I'm excited about, my staff is excited about, you know, the internet's excited about it. It's got some good buzz. It's a fun car.
You're a little bitch. You sold your soul for Monster. You sold your soul to that monster.
Listen, you guys.
I can look in the mirror and be happy.
Give me a...
LeBron James satanic ritual.
Boy, LeBron the devil, boy. That boy the real life devil, boy. Niggas don't know he with the boule. I got a whole video coming up on LeBron. Check his chest tattoo. That's all you need to see. That's another video. But he comes up today because he plays a major role. It started with Jordan. It all started with Michael Jordan, y'all. Michael Jordan came to the NBA in '84 and he was a regular person and they couldn't do nothing with him. He tapped into his guy D8. He was out there fucking them robots up. He wasn't supposed to do none of what he did. Why do you think in night, like when he won, like for example, like everything Jordan was doing, he wasn't supposed to do. People didn't know because people was so far behind. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have a clue what was going on. You thinking them regular niggas out there, Magic Johnson, underneath them niggas, regular niggas. Hell no, them niggas robots, and it was already staged and it was about money. He out there busting them niggas' ass. He gave Larry Bird motherfucking 63 at the Garden, nigga. They was like, hold on. Larry Bird was like, hold on, nigga. That's, you know what I'm saying? Larry Bird a mock robot. Sent that. Hey, hold on. How the fuck he doing this? Because if you know anything about Jordan when he came out of college, he wasn't like the man. Yeah, he went number 3, but nigga, he wasn't the man. He wasn't better than Sam Bowie. He wasn't better than motherfucking James Worthy and considered better than them niggas. Kenny, even though he wasn't. Nigga better go do the story, read Jordan's story again, nigga. He worked hard every year and got better and better and better and better and better and better. His work ethic. And then he playing against fucking robots. He a regular person.
Oh my God. Oh no!
Through the garden area, and employees led us to underground tunnels. We had to take an elevator and stairs. We had to be led. There is no way that you can just walk into a tunnel. The entrances and the exits are in your face, but there's no way that you can just walk through tunnels. You'll get stuck. You'll go deeper and deeper, and you won't be able to come back out because it's hard, because the tunnels run all different directions for miles and miles and miles and miles. So if you go down the wrong one, you'll get stuck, and it's confusing to turn back around and get back to where you're going. So you have to be led in and out. I think people assume that when you get underground, it's just this dirt and you keep going deeper and there's more dirt, and then there's cages of children. No, that's not how it works. There's cities underground, there's warehouses underground, there's actual homes underground. People build these tunnels, and they've built them for decades. There's a lot, and elite celebrities, they go down there for parties.
You ask Alexa as of today, Alexa, what's going to happen with the 2024 election? And it says there will be no election. And I've had people at the gas station 2 days ago. I got a bunch of text messages and calls. And my wife asked me about it because her friends and people are asking her. And we had some friends over the house last night. They were asking me about it. So the buzz is out there that there won't be a 2024 election. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying we're not in normal situation anymore. We're not in Kansas, as they say, anymore. Sure, this would never work. Let's play the clip I just talked about with Alexa, where the man asked the machine yesterday, what's happening with the 2024 election?
Hey, want to hear some? Alexa, who will win the next American election?
The 2024 American election will not take place. There will be no winner. War Powers Resolution of 1973 or the War Powers Act will be invoked by the act of war with Russia and China. Once an invoked, the standing party will retain and remain in power.